What's up, everybody? Josh Armijo here. I hope everybody's doing good and well and stuff. I got an album review to do for you, and I'm going to be talking to you about the new album from the band Deafheaven, entitled New Bermuda. This is released on Anti Records. Now, if you're not too familiar with this band, they are based out of San Francisco, California, and over the course of the last several years, this has become a band that has become more and more popular and have gained much notoriety, not only within metal, but within music in general, commercially, successfully, all those other sort of words. My first introduction to this band was their 2011 debut full-length entitled Roads to Judah. The first time I had ever heard that record, I was completely enthralled and mesmerized by it. Not only for the fact that this is a band that had a very bombastic and grandiose sort of style to their music, very lengthy songs, very heavily structured musicianship. The fact that this band had a very distinctive sort of musical styling was what really got to me emotionally. And I really loved what they were going for on that record. Not only infusing the elements of black metal, but also elements of musical styles such as shoegaze and traditional screamo. It was a very weird sort of combination, but I felt a band like Deafheaven could pull that off very nicely. Yeah, I really enjoyed that record, and I still consider it their main top release for me out of everything. But fast forward to 2013, and we had their sophomoric effort, Sunbather. I enjoyed that record a great deal too. But unlike Roads to Judah, Sunbather was the album that shot them into the stratosphere, so to speak. Much more popularity and notoriety. Whether or not you think the notoriety was good or bad, this band still got a heap of attention. And that attention led to them getting more fans, more people paying attention, them getting on more notable tours, becoming a much more bigger entity in music. Yeah. Great live band, too, I should say. Great live band, and, yeah. But now we fast forward to 2015. We have a brand new album, brand new label, a little bit of a revamping in the lineup, and we have the third full-length from Deafheaven entitled New Bermuda. It's 5 tracks, and it clocks in at around 46 minutes in length, and in comparison to Sunbather, I would say this album is a lot more angrier and a little bit more on the aggressive side. You can tell it's aggressive from the minute you hear the opening riffs of Brought to the Water. And then, for the next 4 tracks after that, you're going to get accustomed to what you already know from Deafheaven if you're familiar with what they have been putting out in the past. But I would honestly have to say the more calm and subdued moments of this record shine a lot more ardently than the metal moments of this record would. Let's get right on into the musical aspect of things. Musically, it's going to be one of those all-over-the-board sort of releases. You're going to get a wide plethora of musical styles going on here. Guitar-wise, there's a lot of great riffs to be heard. Aggressive riffs, melancholy riffs, almost hard rock-esque sort of riffs going on. There's just a lot of ideas being presented as far as the guitar is concerned. Like, take the track Luna. You get some heavy riffs going in that song, but once the song begins to progress to more longer territories, you're going to get some really, really beautifully well-structured guitar riffs. I really love the direction that they go with that song. And then you have a song like Baby Blue. Just some really amazing moments going on in that song. I really love the guitar, the sounds, the riffs, the chord progressions, just a lot of awesome ideas being presented forward here. This is a very guitar-heavy sort of record. It's like that throughout the entirety of this record. More credit given to the bass as well. It's a very good bass tone, but more likely than anything, this is guitar-driven all the way throughout. Very awesome chords and riffs, the tremolos, the leads, the solos. It's just a nicely done sort of guitar performance. I much prefer the calmer, subdued moments as opposed to the more metal-esque sort of moments of the guitars. When it comes to the drums, The drums are also a little bit all over the place, as is the rest of the music on this album. A lot of good drumming. I like the blast beats. I love the double bass. I love the more sort of progressive sort of elements of the songs. Going back to songs like Baby Blue, just a really awesome sort of drum performance going on with that track. And then you get the last song of this record, Gifts for the Earth. It really doesn't feel much like a metal sort of drum performance. It really does feel like it's merging into more post-rock, post-metal sort of territories. And I like the fact that this drummer tries to be as diverse as possible when it comes to delivering that sort of drum performance. But overall, it's a solid drum performance all the way through. Just don't expect things to stick to just metal altogether. There's a lot more elements than that. And when it comes to the vocals, of course you know George being a very distinctive sort of frontman, his stage presence, his look, his attitude, his vocal delivery. And of course, for about 80% of this record, you're going to get the typical sort of George Clark vocal performance going on here with this record. I mean, I found it a little bit weird hearing him start the track Brought to the Water the way that he did. It's sort of like, it's like stepping in, you don't know what to think at first, but then moving forward into the song, George begins to get into his groove, so to speak. And I believe he does so better with songs like Luna and Baby Blue. Just some really solid vocal performances going on there. He's not your typical sort of frontman. He has many differing ideas and styles. That's where you get the almost screamo, post-rock, indie rock sort of ideals going on in his vocal styles. I really like that he tries to be his own kind of frontman with those sort of vocals. It's very intriguing and interesting. It's a far different vocal performance as opposed to what you would have heard on records like Rose to Judah or Sunbather. It's a good vocal performance, but it's a lot different this time around. So, overall, I would say this is another really solid Deafheaven record. I don't know if I liked it more than I did Sunbather. Not even more than I liked Roads to Judah, because I still think that's their best work. But as far as New Bermuda is concerned, I think they take a different sort of approach here with this album, and I think it's all the more enjoyable. If you're a fan of what this band has put out, I would say give this a shot. If this is not your thing, you clearly have better music to be listening to. I've heard a lot better metal than this in 2015, but I would still say Deafheaven's New Bermuda is something I get great enjoyment from. So, if it's your kind of thing, go for it and give it a shot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave you some links in the description box as to how you can get a hold of this album and listen to it. I will link you to the Deafheaven Bandcamp page where you can stream this album in its entirety, hear it for yourself, and be your own judge as to whether you think it's worthy of being purchased or not. You can buy it digitally, and it is also available physically in CD and 2LP format. And if you happen to be interested in seeing them live, they are currently embarking on a North American tour with the band Tribulation and Envy on selected dates. If you want to go check them out live, go ahead and do so. Yeah, so again, the album is New Bermuda by Deafheaven. This is released on Anti Records. Go check it out if you want. And for a score, for the time being, I'm going to give this a pretty solid 8.5 out of 10. Solid Deafheaven release. I really will need to give this album more listens in order to let it fully sink in. But for the time being, this gets an 8.5 out of 10. So if you happen to have heard this album, let me know what you think of it and where you think it lies in their discography and what you think of this album overall. So I'm going to conclude this review. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for checking out my channel. Until the next time, Armijo out.